Miss Ray is very excited. Today is her first day teaching at the brand new middle school, Daisy MS. While she gets ready, she wonders what style of teaching she should try to use. She thought.
With so many styles of classroom discourse I learned about, I wonder what style I should use. Should I just talk at them about things, or maybe I should have them work together in groups? Well, no matter what, I hope I just have a good time.
As she pulled into the school, she saw a lot of students getting ready for classes to begin. There was also a lot of teachers in the parking lot gathering up papers and suitcases. She even saw the principal. Next, she had to check in at the front office, where the friendly receptionist was there to greet her.
Who are you?
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I'm here because I'm the new teacher.
Fill out these forms.
After filling out her forms, Miss Ray was walking through the halls trying to find her way to the classroom.
Gee, all these rooms look alike. I hope I don't get
Lost.
While she was on her way, she stumbled into two students getting books out of their lockers. One was a young girl wearing way too much makeup, and the other was a young boy tossing a football around.
Oh my god, have you seen my new shoes? I just got them at Forever 21. They're so nice. They're so nice. Do you like them? Do you like them? Tell me you like them.
I like sports. Sports.
A little grossed out by what she saw, Miss Ray decided to move on. A little further down the hall, she could hear voices coming from some of the other teachers as they addressed their students for the day. One voice in particular seemed extra loud, and she could hear a male teacher as he lectured his students about the reading from the night before.
I'm never gonna teach my class like that.
She thought.
I want my classroom discourse to be more dialogic than univocal. My students will want to talk to me, and with each other. Never just have to sit still and listen.
With her newfound sense of vindication, she headed to the end of the hall and walked into her brand new classroom. Mr. Wasberg, the teacher she'd be training with, was already taking roll.
Hey, where's my man Vinny back there? I don't see him. Is he hiding?
He said enthusiastically.
Maybe he's just hiding from Marissa's awesome new haircut. Awesome looking, Marissa. Good job.
The whole class let out a giggle, and Miss Ray was excited. Mr. Wasberg seemed like a really cool and just awesome super guy. She knew this was going to be fun.
Hey, Mr. W.
One of the students yelled out.
Yeah, Jay, buddy, what's on your mind?
Oh, I thought they said we couldn't wear hats anymore. Why is she allowed to wear a hat?
Jay pointed at the new girl, wearing a headdress and sitting in the corner. Miss Ray panicked. It was only her first day, and already racial tensions were running high.
Actually, Jay, that is not a hat. That's a burqa, and that's just part of her cultural script. If you ask me, I think it looks pretty awesome. That answer your question there, Jay?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you can put your hand down now.
Cassandra smiled and seemed happy that she was defended, and Miss Ray let out a sigh, knowing they'd avoided a potential crisis. After a bit, all the students were put into a circle to talk about the book they'd been reading. As they'd have back and forths with each other and Mr. W, as they liked to call him, she noticed that a couple of the students didn't seem very interested. Picking up on this as well, Mr. Wasberg called on Rita, one of the students who seemed the least interested.
Well, what about you, Rita? We haven't heard much from you today. How do you feel about the chapters we read last night? Did anything strike you? Did you react to anything well?
Rita opened her book and thumbed over a couple of pages before letting out a huff.
I don't care for this book much at all. In fact, I think I hate it.
Okay. Any particular reasons, Rita?
Rita sat back and looked away again. It was obvious she did not want to be a part of the discussion. Just then, the principal showed up.
Hello! It is time for lunch!
Miss Ray joined the other teachers in the teacher lounge and sat down to enjoy her lunch. It was also the first time she got a chance to look around and meet all the faculty. Like Miss Habelstrom, who taught physical education. Or Mr. Baker, who loved to teach math. Or Miss Lee, who was a whiz with the globe. And of course, old Mr. Tibbs, who loved to drink out of his special mug. Even Mr. Wasberg was there, talking with some of the other teachers about lesson plan ideas. After a bit, she sat down with him and wanted to talk about some of the things she'd seen in class.
I really like how you run your classroom.
She said,
Oh, thank you. I know it must be really scary since it's just, your first day and all, but don't worry about it, okay? It gets easier and easier over time.
I was just really impressed by how you diffused that whole burqa thing. I don't know what I would have done.
Oh, that.
he laughed.
Yeah, that was nothing. Sometimes kids just got to learn a little bit about each other's cultural scripts, but Jay just likes to yell things out sometimes. Just for the sake of yelling things out.
Well,
She paused.
what do you do about the kids that aren't interested? I mean, most of the kids seemed like they were listening, but that Rita girl, you saw her. She just like a bad student or something.
No, Ms. Ray, you're not always going to win them all over, but sometimes it's just a simple thing like environment. I mean, Rita doesn't pay much attention to my class, but why don't you ask Miss Vella over there? Hey, Miss Vella.
Yes?
Miss Villa, the art teacher, walked over and joined in on the conversation.
Tell Miss Ray here about Rita.
Oh, little Rita, well, she is so talented. She's so talented. I think she might be one of the brightest students I've ever had.
See, Miss Ray, sometimes it is just about the student and where they feel the most comfortable. Same's true for a lot of the kids in a lot of the different classes. I mean, some love mine and hate others, and for some it's the other way around.
Miss Ray sat back astounded. She was learning so much. After lunch, Mr. Wasberg told Miss Ray she'd be leading class for the next couple of periods. She was very nervous getting her materials together and waiting for the new kids to pile in. As the final students found their seats, she was horrified to see a paraprofessional escorting a blind boy into the room. Sitting down in the front row and facing her with his cold, dead eyes, she began to panic once again.
Oh my god, I can't do this. I can't do this. I've never taught a student before, let alone a blind one. How am I gonna do this?
Mr. Wasberg, sensing her unease, came over and put his hand on her shoulder.
Hey, are you doing okay?
I don't know if I can do this.
What, Billy? No, that's just Billy, and that's just his paraprofessional. Don't worry about them, okay? She's going to take notes, and it's no different than teaching any other student.
But he's blind!
It's okay, Miss Ray. I know you can do this. Just take a deep breath, get up there, and lead my classroom.
Feeling inspired by his words of encouragement, she jumped up and took control of the class.
Okay, everybody, before we start, are there any questions? None at all? Good. We can begin.
After a while, Mr. Wasberg took over the class again and had the students rearrange themselves into their groups.
Okay, guys, get into your teams and let's hammer out these next few questions.
Miss Ray didn't understand how these teams had been chosen and decided to ask Mr. Wasberg how he came up with this plan.
How do you have the group split?
She asked.
Do you let them choose, or is it random?
Oh, not at all.
He interrupted.
I set it up based on where they're at as individuals. Usually I put the quiet kids or the more reserved ones with those who are doing really well, and so on and so forth. What happens is that the kids end up learning and teaching at the same time. It puts them in their challenge zones.
Challenge zones?
She asked.
You mean like that Russian guy Vyjozy or whatever? I thought I remembered hearing something about that.
It's Vygotsky, actually. But his theory about the zone of proximal development was pretty right on. So when I put these kids in these groups, right, I force them out of their comfort zone into that challenge zone. So now they can grow, develop new skills. If they end up falling past that and end up in their freakout zone, don't worry. I can fly on by, offer some points, maybe ideas. A little bit of scaffolding, if you know what I'm talking about.
Miss Ray laughed, but was actually relieved to hear that these theories she'd been studying were right. She could really use them. Maybe this job wouldn't be so terrifyingly hopeless after all. Soon the bell rang, and Miss Ray headed out to the parking lot where the students and teachers cleared out. Mr. W waved her a final goodbye and drove off in his super awesome, totally sweet luxury car. And she was able to say goodbye to some of those faces she'd gotten to know that day. Like this guy. Or who could forget her? And of course all of them. Even the principal said goodbye.
You! It is time for goodbye!
I'm sorry.
She explained.
I just don't know where my car is parked. You haven't seen it, have you?
Over there!
The drive home was long, but it was good. Miss Ray just sat back, turned the radio down, and drove slowly. She had a lot to think about from her first day at school. Teaching styles, classroom discourse, the ZPD, identity and disability, environment, even cultural scripts. She had a lot to juggle and wasn't sure how she was going to do tomorrow.
Well,
She thought.
it couldn't get any worse, right? Yay!